Da da da, about Pokemon. Yeah. Good morning. Thank you for tuning in to the first ever Frozen review. Today we are reviewing Pokemon Sword and Shield, more specifically the Pokemon Shield Edition. Now the Pokemon Shield Edition is retailing for $59.99. This is one of the first full-priced Pokemon games after Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu, but this is the first standalone with a new story, new Pokemon, whole bunch of new stuff, and we're going to break it down into a few different aspects. We're going to talk about gameplay, visuals, the overall story and how that played out, Pokemon, and then we'll give a final verdict with a little mystery rating system at the end. But we'll make it up when we get there. We'll try and keep it spoiler free because it is a fun game, and anybody watching, I do encourage to actually get the game. I'll say that right now. I had a lot of fun with it throughout my playthrough. It took about 18 hours, but you gotta play it yourself. It's a Pokemon game. Brings it back to your childhood. You have a little fun. You level up to 100, and then you don't touch it until the next one comes out. Alright, but let's get right into it. First, before we get into gameplay, I just want to say I got this on the new Nintendo Switch Lite, more specifically the Pokemon Sword and Shield Edition, and it's actually really nice. It's one of my actual favorite consoles just to own right now, even above like my Xbox and PlayStation, just because it's so portable. I can fit it in my pocket. It's very light, buttons feel good. I'm glad I can play all the different Switch games without, I didn't want to invest in a whole Switch, and I wasn't that interested in docking. Only bad side is I can't record the gameplay, and I really would like to, but that's no problem. It's a really cool device, and I suggest if you were looking in the market to get into some of Nintendo's new games coming up, this might be a good little device for you to pick up. Now into the actual gameplay. It's a Pokemon game. The gameplay is feeling solid. You finally got everything looking very smooth now. No jagged edges, no small screen resolution. It's blown up now. Everything's smooth. Gameplay still feels very solid. Nice little animations. On a more negative side, you have to look into the fact that Game Freak, the developers and publishers, or maybe just developers, I'm not sure. Well, they promised a lot out of this game. This is going to be the first new Switch game. They promised a large whole national Pokemon Pokédex, and they kind of cut it off at about 300 Pokemon, including all the new ones. You have some staple Pokemon like Meowth, Pikachu, and Charizard in the game, but they leave out a lot of other ones like Blastoise, Mewtwo, a whole bunch of other classic Pokemon. And this was all fine because Game Freak had promised that they would make the game look, like a true next-gen Pokemon game. But in my opinion, it kind of just looks like a really pretty 3DS game, like a regular Pokemon game. Thinking back to even the GameCube days, I mean, look at that old Pokemon XD. For 2002, all these Pokemon had their own little animations. Being attacked sent these Pokemon flying back. They would jump right back into battle. They died different ways. And this was all the way in 2002. Here we are about 18 years later. I was kind of hoping for something very similar to this on the new Switch games. And it's not exactly. It's just kind of like improved from the one before, but not that huge leap you'd like to see, especially considering that now you are paying a full $19.99 more than you used to back when the games were on the DS version. Further in the gameplay, they added some new features. They added bikes, they didn't add bikes, but they really improved them. I mean, the bikes send you zooming now, and there's a speed up mode. Before, bikes were kind of cool, but now, forget about it. Bikes are like my favorite thing in the game. They added new wild areas where these Pokemon, these large ones, now walk around. They stalk you, they see you, they hunt you down, they come after you, and you get to battle them. it kind of threw the balance of the game off a little bit. Trying to play it, I found myself in the first time you meet the area at about level 15, and when I crossed the area, I was then at level 25, and I didn't really play that long. But then when I went on and continued on the story, I was about 12 levels above everyone, and kind of one-shot my way through the entire next 3 gym challenges. So the wild area, I mean, it looked really cool. It just kind of threw the game off as far as tempo going. It took about 5 hours until I was actually, challenged by another trainer's Pokemon. And, I mean, Pokemon games aren't that difficult. I mean, if you go back to, like, the old Pokemons, they kind of were. But these New Day ones, it seemed like they were kind of directly marketed, or not marketed, built for kids as far as, like, difficulty goes. They built off some old aspects of the game. Campsites are back. Still kind of cool. I couldn't rub any of them on my screen. Curry cooking's there. That's really cool. Food looks good. Good addition. They need to bring back Pokemon shows. I miss being able to, bring out my good old Dialga and show her off for the entire crowd. And maybe she wasn't the strongest, but damn, she was the prettiest. Oh, and those games. I don't know what those games were about, but those were hella fun. And the biggest improvement in the gameplay this year are the Gigantamaximum max battles. The big battles, the big boy battles. These new Gigantamaxing battles are one of the most fun aspects I've ever played in a Pokemon game. Not just in the recent ones, in any one. I liked X moves and I liked the special, additions of different Pokemon. But I really like this, Gigantamaxing the best. Seeing these Pokemon fight as, like, Godzilla and King Kong Titans above the sky. And the moves are all well crafted. They look cool. They sound cool. Never one battle was I not entertained. Felt like there was something new in every battle. The forms that come with them being gigantic. I mean, have you seen that Charizard? Look at that Charizard. That's pretty badass. Visuals. Game looks pretty good. I mean, when they said it showed off the first trailer where it would be more of an open world, I didn't exactly expect that Skyrim Pokemon edition that everybody was hoping for. I thought it would still be pretty linear and everything, and it was. Still very fun, but I mean, it looks pretty. These different regions are well crafted. Going inside caves now were my favorite area of the games. I used to hate caves because you couldn't walk anywhere without a Pokemon showing up, and now they just kind of like lay traps everywhere for these Pokemon to pop up. But they look cool. The forests look beautiful. The atmosphere of the game was just really well done, and this might be one of my favorite aspects of Pokemon Sword and Shield. It's just how it made you feel as you were on the journey. The character animations look about like 1/10 better than Sun and Moon. Yet again, the edges are kind of gone. But I mean, it's been proven they copied some of the animations, and I don't really care that much for these, quick cutscenes. But, I mean, they look okay. Customization is really well done. I changed my character about 4 different times into whole different outfits. And, I got to make him look like a Joker. Got to make him look like a Draft Punk. And then at the end, I just made him look like a Chad Chaddington. And so, pretty cool.
Squirtle, 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 Squirtle.
The story, well, it's a Pokemon story. It's pretty average. It's nothing out of the ordinary. It's certainly not on the level that Diamond and Pearl were. Those stories were all over the place. It's pretty linear. You start off in the town. Nobody knows who you are, and then within 5 minutes, apparently everybody knows who you are, just because you got a little Grunky or something. And I mean, this new trend of having your rival be your best friend, it's It's kind of annoying, in my opinion. I want to be competitive against my rival. I want to beat him and be happy. This guy, I mean, he picked the water type Pokemon, and I picked the grass type. And over the course of a 17-hour campaign, I consistently beat him down, and all he can do is say, "Hey, good job, buddy. We'll get him next time. We'll keep fighting. We'll be the best." And it doesn't do it for me. I want that rival. I want that old guy you got to name. You can name him Dick or Foreskin and just make his life a joke, you know? And then beat him for the rest of the campaign, and you were happy to beat him because that was your rival. They say this guy's your rival, but he's not my rival. He doesn't pose a threat. He picked the wrong type of Pokemon. Game's over. There's 2 female professors. That's pretty cool. Like, I don't know if that's the first time I've done it, because I didn't play Ultra Moon, and I didn't play Let's Go, but, I mean, talk about progression.
Oh yeah, Mr.
Pokemon. Pokemon. Pokemon! The most important aspects of a Pokemon game is the Pokemon. How do they look? How do they feel? And in this game, I think they did it pretty well. About 100 plus new Pokemon. A lot of them look really cool. Like, I think there might be a Persona reference in some of them. And I thought that was pretty cool. The Pokemon look cool. They match the environment well. I like these region forms, like the Koffling and the duck with a big ass sword now. It's pretty cool. I like the Pokemon, except for that apple. That was, look, I wasn't a fan of the keys when they did it. I'm not a fan of the goddamn apple. Like, it's a Pokemon. Don't get it mixed up with a damn apple. Starting forms, they're pretty good. The first starting forms were actually some of the best ones I've seen in a long time. Even before this game came out, I saw a bunch of fandoms about everything. A bunch of people all hyping up their old, Stick Monkey or their old Squabble hiding in the water because he looked cute. Or even that bunny with the little tape on it. And I really thought the bunny would have the coolest evolution in the end. But, well, when they came out, it kind of was obvious that the second evolutions were pretty solid. They all looked cool. And then the finals were a bit lackluster. I got the monkey again. I thought he was pretty cool, especially with that big ass drum. He kind of just attacked everyone with it. The move swarm were kind of weak, but I thought it was pretty cool. And then the fire bunny, he's a ninja. That's kind of cool. I can see why someone would get that. And then the squabble. He's like Greninja if you took away the ninja and just left this stick, blue stick. Legendaries of this game, the 2 are actually really solid. I like the look of them. I like the sword and the shield concept. I like how one's really defensive and one's really offensive. It's a good match for it, but the only problem is that's it. That's it for the legendaries. I mean, you have one more, and you'll find that out when you actually play the game at the end. But that's it for the legendaries. You get 2 legendaries. And they don't even come until the very end of the game. Like, very, very end. Once you're all set and all that, you are waiting a while to get those legendaries. And once you do, I mean, you got them, but you only have so little to do after that. You're not facing the final 4. You're not even going after any legendaries. In old games, once I got my legendaries, I took them out on a little hike to go get those other legendaries. Those special island Pokemon, or those big buff guys on the clouds, or those different birds with elements. We all went after those after we got the legendaries, because now we knew we could take them down with a Great Ball. We just needed to weak them down a bit. We used the Master Ball, and now we gotta take the other guys. But in this game, there's nothing. You're just gonna use them to battle their trainers online, and they all have the same Pokemon, and you're gonna use them for a few new challenges at the very end of the game. So, a little bit disappointed, not in the legendaries themselves, but in the lack of them. Alright, coming down to a final verdict. Gameplay was good, Pokemon designs I liked. They didn't exactly live up to the title of the next generation Switch Pokemon game that I was kind of hoping for, but I had fun, and that's the important part. It's a Pokemon game, brought me back to my childhood, got me to experience those happy, nice moments I always wanted to recreate, as well as build some new ones with these Gigantamaxing battles. A lot of good improvements, could have done a little bit more, so we're going to be giving it, and drum roll please, 8.5 out of 10. Everything bagels. You know those bagels with like the seeds and everything? Yeah, 8.5 out of 10 everything bagels. It's a good game. I'd recommend picking it up, especially if it goes on a Black Friday deal. But that's all up to you. This has been a Frozen review. Come tune in on some other videos, and we'll see you next time.